Hello, my name is Eli Sword, and I am the field application scientist for GenX. And what I wanted to focus this demonstration on was the CMV visualization capabilities, which is now available in version 5.14. So as documented, the new feature that we are going to cover during this demonstration is the ability to visualize your panel of normals for copy number variants, in addition to your events of interest. And so this feature, as stated, is applicable when you're starting from the secondary implemented in GenX. And so you have to start from your FASTQ files, and you also have to have a panel of normal integrated for CMV calling. And so kind of the standard practice, if you're using Dragon, is to have 50 samples that come from the same library preparation methods. And if you're interested in calling events in the X or Y chromosomes, it does recommend having a split by gender, so 25 males, 25 females. And so ultimately, once you have the CMV panel of normals integrated into account, which is something that is done by the GenX team, then this feature will be performed automatically. And so just to provide kind of that introduction, so this is the output metrics from implementing the secondary pipeline within GenX. You can see we have a variety of different files which are produced. And one of the new files is the CMV normalization. So the CMV normalization is new output. Again, it's implemented from running the a secondary that's integrated the panel of normals. But in terms of the actual visualization capabilities, really this comes into play when visualizing your copy number variants or your structural variants. Specifically, when you click on the location, what it'll do is it'll plot your files in IGV, which I've already done here. Just for the sake of brevity, what you can see is it will automatically plot your alignment file. So this is your BAM file, which includes your coverage and plot information, but it will also produce your CMV normalization plot. So the CMV normalization plot is a little easier to kind of explain. So what I did is I just removed the BAM file track here, and that is what this display is showing here. And so in this display, we have our CMV normalization plot, and you can specifically see we have the area of interest, which this is our CMV event, and then we have our kind of our CMV baseline calls. So again, CMVs are called primarily based on the depth of coverage, and the CMV panel of normals is basically allowing you to call any deviation from your baseline will accurately call a CMV event. And so in this example, we have our plot here, and you can see it kind of ranges between 2 and -2, and we have the center line, which would be considered to be diploid. So any deviation from the panel of normals is kind of what the algorithm is doing to call your CMV events. And so now from a visualization perspective, you can see basically duplications will have a higher coverage relative to your panel of normals. If it exceeds a certain threshold, something's called as a duplication event. Alternatively, if it's below the CMV baseline, you would kind of consider that to be your deletions. And so this has a lot of advantages, specifically for visualizing those differences. For example, if there was a lot of noise in the surrounding regions, then you could say, this is potentially a event that may be worth investigating more thoroughly. Alternatively, if there are particular regions where you might suspect a deletion or a given event, you can always search for that region within the IGB and determine if there are indeed differences in coverage profiles. But really this is trying to enhance the validation visualization capabilities of copy number variants and structural variants, as well as provide you with more information if you wanted to include these events into your clinical report. So again, this is the CMV visualization capability, which is offered in GenX analysis version 5.14. And if you want to implement this, you have to have the CMV panel of normal integrated into the secondary pipeline that is provided by GenX. So if you have any questions about this, please reach out to support@genx.com.